gets laid. Dawn's in the building, his swag so tight. Check your feelings, he's exposing all the lies. Every Thursday at 8, his voice takes the stage. The man's got soul like a record with age.
Hold on, y'all. Old ass black man trying to operate a smartphone. Hey, everybody, it's Thursday night, the Don Miller Show. Many broadcasts have preceded this one. I've been doing this a long ass time, Phil. You know that?
How long have you been doing it, Don?
I don't even like this podcast stuff. I've been on the radio for 25 years.
Don, ever since I met you, you didn't want to do this.
I know. You know I didn't.
Yeah,
and they
ever since
convinced
I
me to
met
do
you.
it. And I was like, man, I don't need to be seen. You know what I mean? I don't need to be seen. But you know what? Sometimes in life you got to step out there and do some things you may be a little uncomfortable doing. Hello, everybody. It's the Don Miller Show. Phil, what's up, man?
Yo!
Man, look, I
Missed
was
you last week, man.
I was so excited about this broadcast. So I was about 4 o'clock in the morning a few weeks ago, and I'm on the internet at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. And I came across this video of this young lady, and I was like, who the hell is that? Right? Especially, who the hell is that in Texas? Because when we hear Texas and politician and black, we go back to the days of Sheila Jackson Lee and my friend Eddie Bernice Johnson. And now we got this new chick, Miss, what's her name? What's that little girl name with the eyelashes? Her, Jasmine. Anyway, so I see this young lady, and she was from Texas, and she was speaking my language. She was saying exactly what I need to hear more and more. And I was like, man, I got to figure this out. So shout out to Amber Cuccia at Amber Cuccia Designs. Amber, thank you so much for all you do. Amber is the little white lady up there in the middle of nowhere who works remote for the Don Miller Show. Thank you so much again. So I came across this video. Phil, you got that video?
Sure do.
Came across this video of this young lady, and I was blown away. I probably sent it to 50 people. And I'm going to play this video before we bring our guest on. But this has to be one of Phil, how often am I excited about talking to somebody? I'd be like, I'm going to just come in here and drink this drink right here.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to the Monkey Shoulder people and drink this drink right here and do a broadcast. But again, I was so impressed with this young lady. Watch this video.
When I first announced my run for Congress, I had this random white woman, liberal, walk up to me and ask, well, what about you isn't Democrat? To which I responded, well, besides my skin color, what about me is Democrat? And it was at that very moment that she realized that God gave her enough common sense to ask me about my values. Now, don't get me wrong, I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot, so when I first started, I would say things like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not a conservative. But now I know all too well I am a full-fledged, hardcore conservative, and I'm proud of it. I mean, my favorite saying is I was born black, not Democrat. But in all seriousness, whenever I began to think for myself politically, the choice was easy. I mean, why would I want to belong to a party whose mission is to infringe on the Second Amendment as if a criminal would ever participate in something like a mandatory buyback? Why would I want to belong to and endorse a godless party? Because there is no such thing, and I mean no such thing as a trans child. We have confused children and sick enabling adults. Why would I want to belong?
Thank you so much. Wow! We got her right here tonight at the Don Miller Show, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. We're joined by Payton Jackson. Payton! Man, when I saw that video, I wanted to drive my ass to Dallas and find you, man. I was like, I'm going to go out to Dallas and find Payton Jackson. Y'all can follow her at No Taxing with Jackson. Man, I just appreciate you for joining us, ma'am. So, Payton Jackson, you're under 30, right?
I am 28, yes.
Wow, she's under 30, and she's speaking and engaging at a, oh my gosh, at a rate that people 3 times her age who've served this country, allegedly served the people, have not even had real conversations. So thank you so much. I'm very familiar with your area. As I said, Eddie Bernice Johnson was a Democrat on the other side of that congressional district for a long time. She recently passed away. Then you got bitch-ass VZ. And I don't even know what to say about that brother, man. He is just a goofball clown. I said it, you didn't. Okay.
I said it too.
Okay, good. We on the same page. And so, Payton, at what point did you realize that you had to say something?
Well, Don, I said what we were all thinking. Honestly, I said we were what we were all thinking. But at what point in time do we stand up, especially in the black community? I mean, I was raised to be Democrat down the ballot, and I guess at one point in time that was a good thing, maybe. But we are in 2025, where and when all of this nonsense is going on, and like you just said, people 3 times my age,
Yes.
and I'm currently in the city of Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a, don't tell anybody, but I'm not a native born Texan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even from this state.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost didn't give that speech because I knew the type of backlash that it could possibly give me running in the districts that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
All of my districts are hardcore Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason why it's hardcore Democrat is because people, especially the black community, we refuse to think independently. Even when we have somebody like me pointing out complete nonsense. But I'll tell you, just like I told Tatum, I believe that the majority in the black community, we are conservatives. We just
Absolutely.
don't want to admit it.
Right. Well, I don't think we understand, and especially when you look at the black community. And this shirt, everybody that I'm wearing, this is Payton Jackson's quote at the microphone when I first saw her. She was born black, not Democrat. I too concur.
I need a couple of those
I
shirts.
got you. I got you.
Okay,
Okay.
now, 'cause you caught
Okay.
me off guard.
I got you. But when I hear you, young lady, especially at your age, when I watch the narrative that's being pushed about this transgender ridiculousness, and all of the things that I think are all a setup to affect the black community negatively more than any other community, and then I see you step out knowing that you're going to get punched on every turn. I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I love what you stand for. And I want to shout out that thing you carry on your side every time I see you on them videos, baby. Payton Jackson got that thing with him. I'm telling you,
Texan.
huh?
At heart, I'm a Texan.
You got that thing you carry every day. I love it. Carry your friend on your side. I told Phil I had to get him one. He out here on that nonsense telling me he don't want to get a gun. Everybody look like me should have a gun. Okay? Now you should learn how to use it, go through whatever procedure that takes, but you need to be armed. If it wasn't for arms, black people would still be doing certain things that we fought to get out of. So please understand, right? My grandma had a shotgun. My granddaddy had a gun, right? And so I just support the Second Amendment. Randy Ross said, I'm going to get one made. I was born gay, not Democrat. Randy want everybody to know he is a homosexual, don't he? Randy, I love you. Randy Ross is, he was the chair of Trump Central Florida. And he is a homosexual, though. He's my friend. He don't never pick up the tab, but he's my friend. I love him so much. But again, I just support people who have put something on the line. If you ain't got skin in the game, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath. And to watch you step out and run against a system, that's because that's a system out there. And it is a coontastic system, a bunch of coontastic individuals who have fought to keep the status quo. And so I just want to let you know, you got the support of this show. I've been around a long time. I've got other jobs that I've done. I'll tell you about that later. But I want everybody to know that you are the truth. What you're doing is solid. And I haven't mentioned, but I want to say, so you admit that you're not politically correct. Talk a little bit about that.
I refuse to be politically correct.
Right.
I refuse to. And this was before I threw my support behind Trump, but I don't remember the context in which he was speaking, but his quote that stuck with me was, being politically correct is a waste of time, and we don't have that much time.
Right.
We don't have
right.
that time.
Time is short.
Especially in today's day and time where any small thing could hurt your feelings. Sweetheart, we are all grown.
Absolutely.
Right is right. Wrong is wrong.
Absolutely.
And if I offend you, we could talk about it because it's not my intention
to offend you, and I have to say that because I just found out that it was a sin to offend people. But it's
What
not my
scripture is that?
intention.
I skipped
I
that
can't
scripture.
quote it. I know it's in Leviticus,
Okay,
maybe
all right.
Leviticus 26. I can't quote it, but somewhere in the
Well, I'm
scripture
going
it
to hell on the
says that I
monorail.
shouldn't be I shouldn't be offending people. But here's the
Okay.
thing: I'm not normally. It's not my my mission or my intention to offend you. But at what point in time do we wake up? And I know, with the whole Democrat, the whole liberal thing. Oh, we're woke. But another one of my favorite sayings is it's the woke people that need to wake up. But back to what you mentioned a few minutes ago, it is a system. Even if I was going for an open seat, I'm going against a system because an open
Right.
seat is not really open.
It's never
And
open.
Democrats do it, Republicans do it,
Absolutely.
white people do it, black people do it, Hispanics do it.
Right.
People are walked into these positions.
Absolutely.
Just
Right.
like Jasmine Crockett, she was walked in.
You know,
She was walked in.
I call this election before election, and that's exactly how it happens. And you go look. I could take you all the way back to Barack Hussein Obama. He was elected before he was elected. And
Yeah.
again, because it's the system. It's the system that picks, and it's the system that drives the conversation. So for you to step out to the extent that you have, I was so excited about getting you on here. One other thing I want to hit. I noticed recently that you would be considered an ageist. Well, I just want to let you know, and Phil will let you know. Phil, how long have I been an ageist? I've been an ageist. Look, I want all the old people I just did a show, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about gerontocracy.
Yeah, about the gerontocracy in which we live in. Okay? They need to go home. Like, for real, go home. Like, look, there's 3 types of ages. There's a institutional ages, an interpersonal ages, and oh God. Internalized ages. I am all 3 ages. I am ready for the old people. I'm ready for the Mitch McConnells and the Maxine Waters, okay? I'm ready for them to go to the House. And any black person who still lives in South Carolina and vote for Jimmy has hurt black people more than any politician in America because he's a coon. I'm saying it right here on this show, okay? James Clyburn is a coon, and we need to stand against coons. I'm sorry, ma'am. I said that you didn't.
I mean, I don't know who Jimmy is, but I trust you.
James Clyburn. Remember James Clyburn when Joe Biden was struggling and he went to South Carolina and Jim Clyburn put him on his shoulder and carried him over to the presidency field? Remember that? And he won South Carolina when he was down. And Jim Clyburn, he asked, "What do you want, Jim? What do you want me to do for the black people?" He said, "We want a black national anthem." Negro, no, we don't. We need help. We got enough songs, okay? Fight on and all that nonsense. You know what I mean? We don't need songs. We need help. We give you our vote, the only currency that we have. And what do we get?
No.
Go ahead.
We hand over our
Yeah,
vote.
we hand over our vote.
For what?
For what? Yes.
And it's not just whoever you were talking about. It's just the majority.
You got to know
of black
James Clyburn. You need to
politicians.
write that down because you need to put him in some of your
I'm sure I will.
speeches.
I'll do my research. But
Okay.
it's the majority of black politicians.
Yes.
And
Yes, it is.
Now they have come to a realization that the majority, or at least a good amount of the black community, we're waking up to the BS of the Democrat Party.
Right.
But it's slowly, and it's my demographic that's
Yeah.
dragging.
Yeah, y'all
But
terrible.
This is why
Y'all terrible.
No.
Y'all be at all them white parties.
No.
Okay,
no.
okay.
Don't generalize me. I am not a part of that 90%. That's
Okay, all right.
embarrassing.
Okay.
I'm a part of the 8%. Trump
Okay,
got
great.
my vote. But anyway, I say that to say it's the majority of black politicians that are telling us. It's not just in South Carolina, but like Jasmine Crockett, Mark Vesey. I mean, especially with this immigration issue. This is why the teachings of Dr. Claude Anderson was so important.
Absolutely.
And even though he has plenty of research, plenty of videos on like YouTube, We're not researching that. We don't
No.
even know who represents us in Congress.
Right.
We have no idea. We've never typed in congress.gov.
Right.
A step further, we've never been to county commission.
And everybody got this in their hand. Everybody got a smartphone in their hand. Everybody.
All day, every day. But
Right.
our community, the black community, we would rather research the latest J's or research or dissect Kendrick Lamar's lyrics.
Right.
Now, you know, I looked up the lyrics too, but at what point in time do we actually put in that legwork to better our community, to better the quality of our lives?
Right.
I mean, not just politics, but financial literacy. That's one of the things that we're strived of or deprived of. But we know for a fact that we have a gap within our public school system. Yet we send our kids to school to learn the very same thing that we learned that we still don't use to this day.
Absolutely.
So at what point in time do we stop blaming the politician and we hold the community accountable? Because it's not just the politician; it's the nonprofits who are fed contracts.
Absolutely.
It's the churches, it's the pastors, it's the neighborhood associations, it's the community. Any voter that takes a piece of paper from a nonprofit or any type of organization or anyone telling you exactly how to vote, you just sold out yourself.
You know, it's interesting.
In that booth with you.
It's interesting you say that because one of my listeners just sent me a message and said I failed to mention in the conversation when I said I was an ageist and not politically correct. I'm also anti-trans. Okay. Thanks for reminding me, Steve.
Don't get me in trouble now.
Okay, I'm anti-trans. Okay, you don't. I said it, you didn't. I am. First of all, what the hell is trans, right?
I'm anti-trans kids.
Yeah,
Now,
trans
identify
kids,
who
right.
is, But
Yeah,
once you
yeah.
start to mess with the kids, that's
You know
where
what's-
I get real.
You know it's funny because I remember as a kid when I had no say in my household. I come from a single mama, and whatever she laid on the bed field, that's what I was wearing to school the next day. Put them khakis on and that shirt. It's like I couldn't pick out what I wanted to wear. And so you definitely, can you imagine? I'm telling her, no, I want to wear a half crop top. Can you imagine?
I identify as.
Yeah, it's mental illness. That's exactly what it is.
That's
So
exactly what it is.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, you have really been hitting it hard. I want to talk about your congressional race real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the congressional race, and at what point in your life, your young life, did you realize that you were not a Democrat?
I realized that I was not a Democrat during my tour, my speaking tour that I did in North Texas about reparations.
Okay.
So I never claimed to be a Democrat, but I did work with Democrats, and I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot. So I did what I was told initially.
Right.
But during my tour for reparations in North Texas, I noticed on the city council level and county commissioner, I noticed there wasn't much of a difference between Democrats and Republicans on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wait a minute. Because they claim to be pro-black, but then when you bring up reparations, okay, then that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when I took a step back and I started to pay attention to policy. And it wasn't until I decided to run is during the first time I typed in congress.gov, even though I had my phone in my hand.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right.
But it took for me to personally be affected. I think it was a TikTok ban that really initially embraced me to, read up on bills. And I know I'm not supposed to say this because I'm running for office, but reading bills is boring. It's especially if it's over 100 pages. Get
But
to
I
the
can tell you,
executive
though,
summary, please.
You'll be
It's
amazed
boring.
at what you learn, and then you also realize who's with you and who's not.
Absolutely.
And it is
But-
amazing. And I could point to a lot. Phil it had a guy with a show that's on Phil's network that interviewed a politician the other day right here in the studio. I'm throwing Phil under the bus.
Hey.
And this guy lied about all these bills he wrote, but the guy interviewing him never read anything. So he just kind of, yeah, agreed. You did that? Yeah. And a problem is that, listen to me, books don't what, Phil? Books don't bite. Okay? Books don't bite. And I'm telling you, Negroes, books don't bite. Books don't bite. Okay, go ahead.
What's the saying though?
Yeah.
What's the saying?
If you want to hide something,
Now I'm an avid reader, and I hate reading bills, but I will read a book all day and night. But that's not the majority in the black community, is it?
absolutely.
But
So
here's the thing.
I want to talk
We
to you
have our
about.
phones.
I want to talk to you about illegal immigration. You live in the great state of Texas. I was there last week, and got some good barbecue. Let's talk a little bit about illegal immigration because you live in the great state of Texas, and I can tell you, I've seen what you all are dealing with. What are your thoughts on illegal immigration? You also, on several occasions, have mentioned Ms. Coretta Scott King's letter to Congress. Go ahead.
You have really done your research on me, huh?
This is a grown-ass man read show. Come on. I'm not one of the little boys.
We're going to get back to the ages thing because I want to know how you found out about that. But
Okay, go ahead.
in regards to illegal immigration, my stance is the only right that you should have after breaking into this country is the right to remain silent. That's my stance.
Absolutely.
It's illegal.
Right.
It's illegal. But here's my problem. In the last debate with Trump and Harris, when he mentioned, when he made a comment about black jobs, we took that and ran with it in the
Because the
black
white
community.
man told us to. Let's
Ain't
be
nobody-
clear.
no,
Somebody
no, no, no,
white
no, no, no.
told us we should
No,
be
no, no,
offended
no,
by
no,
it.
no.
I knew what a black job was.
No.
Okay, okay.
Because the white man didn't tell you to do anything.
Right.
You got offended, you got in your feelings,
Right.
and you started to make memes instead of doing research.
Right. I knew what a black job was. Did you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There was
And he found
nothing
out it was a
offensive
black job.
when President Trump said black jobs.
But here's the thing. What he said about black jobs went bar for bar with Mrs. King in her 1991 letter to Congress.
Absolutely. And I
But we
read
don't
it.
know that. I didn't learn that in school.
I read it.
I didn't learn it in school. I just found that out.
And I read it in 91.
You read
I
it in
actually
91?
read it in 91.
I
and-
wasn't born in
and-
1991.
and it went bar for bar with Ms. Coretta's letter to Congress, and even to the point where you look at the federal minimum wage. Talk a little bit about that, and when you watch how illegals can come into this country and qualify for stuff that citizens of this country, descendants of slaves, foundational black Americans can qualify for. How does that rub you in the state of Texas?
Oh, it rubs me all the wrong way. All the wrong way. So, a little bit about me, really quick. I have a son that's he has autism, and like 3 years ago, I applied for Social Security for the child. The child has autism. You know, I wanna put in the application. Well,
Right.
because mommy has a property that she does not live in, because I'm a real estate investor, that's an automatic disqualification. Doesn't matter how much of a mortgage I have on that property. Doesn't matter if there was revenue being brought in from that property. Automatically disqualified. And
Wow.
I'm not applying. I don't have the disability. I do, but I didn't tell them about it. It's the child that has the disability.
Absolutely.
Why was he automatically denied when we have people hopping over our border, running through El Paso? Did you see that? How they ran through
Absolutely.
the gates? They come over here, they get food stamps,
Yes.
housing, TANF cash help, yes. They get Social Security. Everything that we are deprived for in our community is just, it's disgusting. But when you look at states like California, right after the Democrats shut down the reparations bill in California, they tried to propose a $0 down, 0% interest mortgage loan for illegal immigrants.
Immigrants.
No, that's not, you emphasizing the wrong word.
Okay.
Illegal
Illegal is the
immigrants.
word, yes.
Yes. People who broke the law to get into this
Criminals.
country.
Can we just
You're
call them
going to
criminals?
Yeah, They're
Because I would be
criminals.
called a
know what
criminal. If I
Jasmine
snuck
Crockett
in,
and Kamala
if I
Harris
snuck
talking
into
about.
another country, if I snuck into another country, I'd be called a criminal.
You're gonna be called a criminal in this country as well. I don't know what Jasmine Crockett and
Right.
Kamala Harris talking about. If you run over across our border illegally, that makes you a criminal. Just like
Absolutely.
if I decide to walk out my door and go and break into somebody's house, that makes me a criminal. It makes them a criminal as well. The only
You,
right that you should have after breaking into this country is the right to remain silent. But really quick, in California, they shot it down, but they proposed a $0 down, 0% interest mortgage loan for illegal immigrants, and this is all while ignoring the legacy of redlining. And I didn't even know about the redlining until
oh yeah,
recently when
absolutely.
I spoke on reparations. That's when I found out about it.
You know, it's interesting you to talk on that because you've been talking a lot about the no tax on income. So my question to you, when you go to Congress, because you're going to eventually get to Congress, young lady. When you get to Congress, you got some interesting points. One is a conversation regarding no tax on income. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course, so it's already been proposed. I didn't know this. It was fairly new to me, but HR 25 has
Yes.
already been proposed by someone that I would love to support, but I would like a few tweaks to it because I want my ultimate goal is to protect the American people. So I don't want a hike on sales tax for anything essential. And from what I understand with HR 20, it's a rebate. It's a rebate process, and I'm not too much of a fan for that. I would like to exclude things like seeds so we can grow our own food and just food in general, things like gas, anything that we need that's essential, we shouldn't be taxing. But yes, the next person that asks me when was America ever great, I'm going to let them know is when we stood up to taxes. The fact that we are taxing income when the minimum wage for the federal level in this nation is $7.25 is just it's insulting. And then I mean, of course, we got property taxes, but I don't really have a say so in that.
But again, I totally agree with you when you look at how certain people are taken care of. The people who sneak into you look at Chicago. Chicago's a mess right now. You got a
Yeah.
goofball ass mayor who is a total moron. And Chicago's a mess. They're writing giant checks to illegal immigrants in Chicago. And he is singing praises to an administration prior to this one that used him as a total goofball clown and laughed at him. I want to talk a little bit about, you're big on the Second Amendment, as am I, and many of our listeners all over the country. So how did you end up a big Second Amendment toting a gun on your hip person? You probably got the gun on your hip right now, don't you?
I don't. It's in the car.
Okay, all right. But
I knew how to shoot before I knew how to drive.
okay, that's
So
because you
I'm
from
originally
Louisiana,
from
right?
Louisiana. Huh?
You from Louisiana?
Yes. So my papa made sure to teach me how to aim and all of the good things. So I
Okay.
knew how to shoot before I knew how to drive. But I recently started to open carry. Like I purchased the gun that I have right now in 2019, I believe. But I didn't start open carrying until a few months ago because I was on a campaign trail. The last campaign trail I was on, I was sexually assaulted and then I was bit by a dog. So I was like, we're not going to do that again.
Right,
So I started
right,
to
right.
open carry, but man, I mean, I know you're in Chicago or Illinois.
No, I'm in Florida.
Um,
We got
Florida.
I got
You're
my
from
thing right
Chicago.
here.
But here's my thing. In the state of Texas, you would think that I have no problem, wearing my gun on my hip, but that's not the truth. I get so many sideways looks, and it's
You know why,
mainly
right?
from our people.
You know why? Because from black people.
Why?
Because you know what? Because they live in a mindset, but that ain't got nothing to do with you. Carry your gun, girl.
Oh, it ain't got nothing to do with me because this is a constitutional carry. I
I'm
don't care
can't-
how
hey,
they
look.
feel. I have to protect myself, and I promise you, if something go down, you're protected by me as well.
Absolutely.
Enough time for me to shake the spot, but it's sad because I know that they wouldn't treat a white person like that.
Not at all.
No,
look.
I mean a white person walking a gun, you feel safe. I mean, walking with a gun, you feel safe on the hip,
Right.
on the hip. It
Right.
ain't out and about.
Right.
I'll never pull it out unless it's life or death.
Right.
But little old Miss Jackson rolls up with a gun, or sometimes I just have the holster in me because I know I can't bring it into certain places. Which shout out to the state of Texas banning gun-free zones. Hopefully, I'm
Okay,
excited for
well,
that.
let me just say this. I live by this. I would rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I live by that. So you roll up on me the wrong way. But also, I want to shout out Burner. Burner is a non-lethal weapon that you can take anywhere you want to go. Shout out to the Burner people. It's an American-built product. It is a non-lethal weapon that will put somebody on their ass. So I encourage everybody to go get one of those. No
Is
matter
it
where
orange?
you live. Yes. Yes.
I have a connect, and we were talking about it today because he has the
Absolutely.
AK
Yes.
setting, and then he has the I think it's a 380 type.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know.
So I
But,
just think
I'll get that later. I'll
this-
get that later. I need the real thing.
the Second Amendment is for all of us, and I just think anybody who stands against that is living in a bad mindset. I want to talk to you about education reform. That's one of the things you've been talking about on your stump a lot.
Yeah.
Education reform. Go ahead.
I'm very passionate about it. We are wasting our time. Outside of basic math and reading, we are wasting our time in the public school system. I have an accounting degree somewhere back there.
Okay,
That's the
okay.
most it's done. It's been on the wall.
Okay.
Now, has someone, whether it be family or someone in the community or someone at a school, handed me the Rich Dad Poor Dad series, there was no reason for me to go and get that accounting degree.
Absolutely.
$50,000 on an accounting degree.
Right.
$50,000. So why not incentivize a trades-based route? And that's something that I have included into my federal policy for Congress, because we have to pay more attention to trades than we do the traditional four-year university. I call universities and colleges the big pharma of academics, because the amount of money that we waste on things on a piece of paper is just, it's crazy. And a lot of these degrees we can get inside of high school if we just condense the curriculum and actually focus and hone in on what we need to learn. It's student loan debt is one of the top 3 consumer debts in this nation.
Absolutely.
Yet we are still preaching the
College.
narrative that
College.
you have to go to college to be successful.
And,
Why?
you know, I'm much older than you, and I can remember, and I talk about this a lot on the show, Phil, as you know, my friends who went to trade school immediately after high school, they was rich first, okay? My buddy Mike became a welder and was just killing it. This dude was making $100,000 when it wasn't fashionable. And another friend who became, he was a bricklayer, and a guy that was a crane operator, all at a vocational school. And when I watched the transformation, this is why we need to get rid of the Department of Education. Because the Department of Education is hogwash. It should have been gone. What are your thoughts on getting rid of the Department of Education?
Toss it out. Toss it out. Now,
Yes.
The only thing that I would do differently, I would set a national standard for our education. And even if we just have to focus in on reading and math, let's just focus in. Let's set a national standard for all 50 or 51 states or 52 states. And actually set the standard and meet it eventually.
Right.
But I don't really have confidence in all 50 states to get it right. I support the dismantling, but what do we do next?
You know, a lot of states are not even going to acknowledge it. But when I'm looking at, when I grew up in my era, the people who were successful first were people with trades. You know, I got friends who end up being doctors, but that took 15 years. But my friends who went straight to trades, plumbing, welding, they were getting that money. And I was like, damn, I'm over here working for short money. And they were getting it. And I was like, damn, I should have did aviation. Yeah, I had a buddy. The school I went to was a vocational school my first couple of years, and my buddy went into aviation, and he was a mechanic. He worked on Boeing planes. This is in the 80s, and I was like, and every time he showed up, he had a new car, and I was like, man, I'm out here trying to can you give me a jump on this damn Buick?
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. They're successful first, or you notice that they're successful first because of how the system is set up.
Right.
It's minimal debt, and it's nothing but trade-based knowledge versus with a traditional 4-year degree. You have to go through gen ed, electives, then focus on your industry versus going for an actual principle, mastering that, and then making a living off of it. And a lot of people, some people go and work for other people. But can we talk about how the tax code is set up and how we should talk about that in school, and how the average business owner, we receive more tax incentives to work as a 1099 or to work for ourselves in comparison to being someone's employee? I mean, yeah, it's a simpler, or I won't say simpler, but you're going to notice them faster financially just because of how the system is set up versus working as an employee after a 4-year or 8-year or 12-year degree, which if you're going to be a doctor, great. If you're going to be a lawyer, great. But all of these other degrees, I hate to break it to you, but I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. It's not worth it.
It's not. I want to really get to. So again, you and I concur on banning the Department of Education because it was the Department of Education that got rid of trade schools, VOTEC schools, for whatever reason. And I remember it well because I was watching. And let me just say this for the record, might I add, my friends who hated school, and there was a wonderful, wonderful guidance counselor. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. But for my friends who hated school, he would always say, hey, go over there and go take a class, one of those classes. And these are the people who end up loving coming to school. When you were in mechanics and welding and any of these shops, they loved coming to school. And they had the best attendance rates because they spent the whole day, Phil, learning about something they enjoyed.
Oh, yeah. I was in VOTEC.
You went to VOTEC?
Yeah, we have VOTEC.
What'd you learn?
Car stuff.
You know how to fix a car?
I did. Now, all of you got it, man. I don't know how to do new cars, but old cars, yeah.
Yeah, but again, these young people had the best attendance rates, and especially in underserved communities. They had great attendance rates, the children in vocational training. And all of a sudden, it went away. My concern is it was a setup. So real quick, I want to talk to you about something I wanted to save for last. I've been riding this term limit conversation. How long, Phil?
Ever.
Tell me your thoughts on term limits.
I support term limits, but the thing is, everyone supports term limits until we speak about someone that they like.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
So, I mean, I support it. I believe that we should have 12 in Congress and 12 in the Senate. But people like Senator Kennedy, we can give him a pass. We can.
But think about this. Let me think about it. You mean your Kennedy from Louisiana?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my guy. He's my guy. He's doing great work. But this is my concern. In the last 50 years, we've had almost 70 people die in office. 70. At least 13 were close to 90. That's not okay. Because it's not at that point about the money or the income. It's about the greed and the power. Think about this. Why is an 88-year-old person flying across country every Monday to go to Capitol Hill from the west coast of the country? Why are you getting on the plane for 6 hours at 88? Why was Robert Byrd there for 60 years? Why was Strom Thurmond there? Why is Maxine? And I love Maxine. I don't agree with a damn thing she says, but, family's family, right? But why is Maxine, 84 years old, flying from L.A. to D.C.? Maxines need to go home. Okay? And many of these people, Danny K. Davis and the Bobby Rushes of the era, thank you so much for what the hell you did, but go home. Look, if I got a $180,000 pension for the rest of my life, now stay with me, and good-ass benefits, Phil, and then I could leave, sit out a year, and do some consulting and get 10 people to pay me $10,000 a month to take phone calls. I'm sitting on the porch in my drawers.
Heck yeah.
In my drawers. They're going to be like, what down there out there in his drawers? Why would I go to work? Why would I get on an airplane and fly across the country? Greed, power. Go ahead.
My perception.
That's your church finger.
My perception of politics is that it belongs to the old people that feel like they need titles. It may be the greed, it may be the power, but if you ask me, it's just because it's a bunch of old people that feel like they need titles. And I hate it. And I am an ageist. I feel just like there's a age minimum. You have to be 25 to go to Congress. There should be an age cap. And that's something that me and the conservatives, we don't really agree on. But we have to start pushing people out. We don't need more career politicians who are just destined to waste time, not just on a local, a state, or a federal level. We need people to get in, propose solutions, because we have all of the solutions to the problems that we claim to have. We just have passive ass politicians, excuse my language,
No,
but we
do
don't
that.
have
That's how we talk on here.
we don't have the right people in office. We have people who feel like they need a title because I guess they were losers in high school, or I don't know what it is about their self-esteem that says, oh, I have to keep this title to be a being in this world. I mean, Miss Jackson is 29, never held any political title, and you can't tell me that I'm not running Texas. You cannot tell me. And I say that in the most humblest way, but we have to start pushing these old people out. And if I have any young people listening right now, you only have to be 25 to run for Congress. So I encourage you, I embrace you, as long as you have a genuine motive. Go ahead and do the paperwork this winter and put your name on the ballot for Congress.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that because Phil's congressman is 26. And what is his job before he went to Congress, Phil?
You talking about Frost?
Yeah.
What do you work at, Ale House?
No, he's an Uber driver.
Uber driver. Well, just
Yeah,
same thing.
Uber driver. But how is he doing in Congress?
He's sinking.
Yeah, Phil's congressman is sinking, and he's sinking in Congress. He's 26 years old. He left Uber. He's like, I got better sights in mind. I'm leaving Uber. Let me just talk to you real quick. How can people follow you, and how can they support your efforts?
Number one way to support is money.
Okay. All right.
That's
fine. That's fine.
I have to be honest. Mm-hmm. I would appreciate if all donations go to my website, which is notaxingwithjackson.com. You can donate there. If you aren't fortunate enough to donate, I would request that you just interact on my social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok.
No taxing with Jackson.
No taxing with Jackson, yes.
Okay, all right.
And if you're local, I'm going to need volunteers pretty soon. So
for all my Fort Worth, Dallas people, she needs some help.
No. It's Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay, sorry about that.
She had to correct you, boy.
Dallas, Fort Worth. I don't even know why it's Dallas, Fort Worth. It should be the other way, quite frankly. Right?
No. Why?
But you are correct. Let me real quick. I got so many things I had to talk to you about, and I never really have notes. I come in here and I do this like. Let's talk about the person you're running against.
Briefly.
Yes. Tell me about that. How's that going?
What I can tell you is he is a 12-year incumbent, maybe 13, pushing 13 years.
Who is it?
Mark Vesey.
Yeah, he's a sports writer that was a terrible sports writer. Horrible.
He's is a 12 or 13-year income.
I'm a life member of NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists, so I can do that.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
All right, go ahead.
Now, you can read up on his voting record. I can't tell you that on congress.gov.
Yeah, it's
That's
terrible. It's terrible.
I'm going to let them go and read the bills.
Okay,
even
go
though
read.
I know the majority will not even bother to type in congress.gov.
Okay.
I encourage you, for what I can say is for the hardcore Democrats that are thinking that they need to go to the polls and vote Democrat down the ballot. Mark Vesey has voted with Republicans faithfully over his tenure. But for the Republicans listening, what I will say is he hasn't supported the right bills on the
Right.
Republican side.
Right.
So
I agree
encourage
with that. Now,
all
that's a fact.
Yeah, I encourage
I think
all
he
people
thinks
to
he's
actually
crossing
go
the
and-
line,
Yeah.
but I think he doesn't understand what the line is.
Well, here's the thing. Just like with Jasmine Crockett, in my district, in Texas 33, District 33, just like in District 30, from what I heard, the majority is Hispanic. So when
Right.
these politicians, they come to the forefront, they're trying to speak to the room. They're thinking, I need to say whatever I think they want to hear
Right.
to get elected or to get reelected. But the truth is, if you don't know a conservative Hispanic, you just haven't met enough Hispanics. Because the Hispanics in 33, they don't agree with an open border. I'm not saying that they're hardcore conservative. I won't say that.
They
But
don't.
what
I can tell you, most of the Hispanics I know are totally against open borders.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Yes. So when is the election?
The election, so the general election is November of 2026.
Right. Okay.
The primaries, it should be sometime in March, but I
Right.
don't know whether or not I'm going to be in the primaries.
Tell me why.
Because the reason why is unless I have full, unwavering support from Tarrant County GOP and Dallas County GOP, there's no reason for me to run as a Republican. Now, I'm conservative no matter what. My values are unwavering. But District 33 is a hardcore Democrat district.
Yes, it is.
So
Long
why
term,
not go
long term.
in? Now, I'll never be a Democrat.
Right.
But why not go in as an independent? Because it's a lot easier to sell to the voters in District 33.
But that's not. But that's actually not who you are, right?
An independent or
Yeah.
a Democrat?
Independent.
I'm a conservative. Now,
Right.
whether that's a conservative Republican or a conservative independent, I really don't care about the title.
Right.
I don't care about the party. I don't belong to any party, but I am a hardcore conservative, and
And
all of my values are based off of common sense. Common sense in my faith. But I mean, if I don't have the support from the GOPs locally, why
So what-
would I?
why do you think you may
voluntarily
not-
put up that battle?
Why do you think you may not have it? I think you are the shining star in that region, and I just
Oh.
talked to several of my Republican friends in Texas about you
I
today.
know that I am.
They all know who you are. So why don't you think?
know.
Why don't
And-
you think you have it?
I mean this in the very humblest way possible. One, I know that I am the only person that can flip this district. And I hate to use race, but I mean, it's important in today's day and time. A white Republican cannot flip this district.
Not at all.
So
Not at all.
if the Republicans in Tarrant County and in Dallas County want to see District 33 flipped, then I need the support that they sent to Mansfield in Tarrant County.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were out there almost every day campaigning.
And there was big money in that too.
But I need that big money.
Right,
I need
yeah,
it. And I'm
right.
running a grassroots campaign. I'm not being walked in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any big money. I'm not bought and sold.
Right.
I need volunteers. I need money, but I also need support from the GOPs. Now, I don't care about an endorsement. That's not really going to help me in this district. But I need people behind me that are conservative. I mean, I can convey the message. I can make it make sense to the Black and brown community.
Right.
But why should I have to put up that fight by myself when I know that I'm doing a favor to the Republican Party
Absolutely.
by going under that ticket. Now, I'm a conservative no matter what. My values are unwavering. But it's a struggle convincing, selling to especially black people to vote Republican, especially if I had to go through a primaries. The voters they would have to choose between Democrat primaries or Republican primaries,
Absolutely.
and that's another hurdle for me. So why should I take on that fight by myself instead of the GOPs in Dallas County and in Tarrant County just admitting that Miss Jackson is the only one that can do it in District 33?
As
That's the
opposed to
only
saying,
thing
sorry,
that
Miss Jackson. as opposed to saying, sorry, Miss Jackson. Okay? Well, you know what? Thank you so much for joining us. Real quick, I got a lot of messages, Phil. Our guest, Payton Jackson, put her stuff up, Phil, so people can follow her. Please go follow her. Payton, so you're coming to Tampa, Florida, July 13th, correct?
I am.
To
I
speak
am, and I really hope they check.
Yeah, you're coming to Ybor City to a
Yes.
conservative event, the Liberation Show,
Yes.
Black conservatives. And I didn't even know about this, and then somebody told me, and I might drive over there.
You
And,
should.
yeah, I got a problem with Tampa. Them Phil, you know what my problem with Tampa is, Phil, right? But yes, I think I'm going to come to that event. Several of my friends who are in broadcasting and got shows said I should come. I'm probably going to come over. I'm an old school guy in this business, but I'm probably going to come to that. Probably try to take Quetta Jean Johnson, Phil, from the Johnson family, ridiculous ass behavior.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But let me just say this before you leave. You can stay on while I hit this, because you may know about this or may not. One of the greatest strategic political moves in a long time happened yesterday. President Donald Trump pardoned Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover is the founder of the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. Chairman Hoover has been in jail since 1973. He was arrested in Chicago while driving a stolen truck, and he was found to have ordered a hit on a gentleman. Chairman Hoover was sent to jail, and while in jail, he was sentenced to 200 years. While in jail, the guy who actually did the shooting went to jail at the same time Larry Hoover went to jail. That guy was out of jail by 95. Larry Hoover has been incarcerated 27 years, from what I understand, in solitary confinement. He has been incarcerated consecutively since 1973. President Trump gave him clemency yesterday, so he is being released from the Adiac Supermax Penitentiary in Denver, outside of Denver, tomorrow or in the next few days. There is a 200-year sentence, state sentence, awaiting him in the state of Illinois. The governor of Illinois, which is Pritzker, who is talking about running for president, is finding himself in a real political quandary. And the question is, Phil, people are wondering, does Pritzker send Larry Hoover to finish the 200 years, or does he fall in line with what the president has done and allowing him clemency after already doing more than 50 years? And I think this is brilliant play by dropping this. And if you understand how black people feel about Larry Hoover, right? Larry Hoover, for all intents and purposes, has been a political prisoner. Larry Hoover had 30,000 young black men in 1973 following a 20-year-old. And so this is falling right in the lap of a Democratic governor of a state, Chicago, quite frankly, that entire region of the country, St. Louis, Detroit, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, that entire region of the country. And the Black Gangster Disciple Nation had almost 30,000 people in about 40 states. And it's going to be interesting as to how the Democratic governor of Illinois plays this out, Phil. Are you familiar with it, Phil?
Just a little bit. But yeah, 50 years, that's quite a conundrum, though. So I don't think...
Payton, have you heard anything about this?
I have.
Yeah.
Larry Hoover.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I have.
this is a brilliant political play to me because I have interviewed on multiple occasions, Phil, you know this, Gator Bradley. Wallace Gator Bradley was the chief enforcer for the Black Gangster Disciples. He was Chairman Hoover's right-hand man. And when they shifted the Black Gangster Disciple to a political-based organization with 21st Century Vote and registered thousands of young people, at that time, they sent the first black U.S. senator from that region of the country, Carol Moseley Braun, overwhelmingly. They registered more people to support her to send her to Congress, to the Senate. She was before Barack Obama. And I think that was a serious threat when they shifted into the political conversation. So I want to wait and see and watch this. This is going to be interesting for the Democrats in the midterms because it has been dropped in the lap of this guy, and we're going to continue to watch. Listen, Payton, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And if you forget about my shirt,
I got you. I'm going to send you shirts. Okay, please, everybody, go follow Payton. Put it up, Phil, right quick. Go follow her, engage with her, follow her on social media. She is making noise, and we have to support young black people, young white people, young conservative voices who are making noise, who are bucking against the system, and who are presenting a real conversation. We thank you so much. Payton, I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Payton Jackson, you're winning, girl. You're winning. Thank you so much. Hey, Phil, listen, shout out my people, man, my friends over at
Flex Auto.
Casa Leon.
Yeah.
Man, I love you, Renee. And, man, Yvette. And, man, those are my people. The Vineyard Lake Mary, my boy Robbie. I'll see you in a few minutes. What's the soup? Again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining the Don Miller Show. Listen, we come in, we go real fast because we only do an hour. We getting ready to change that. Also, coming back to Florida Man Radio on the weekends, the Don Miller Show. Rob just said, okay, can we read some of these people who've been hitting us, Phil? Can we put some up?
Yeah, of course. I was waiting.
Coming back to Florida Man Radio. I'll be back on the radio. Matter of fact, I'll be back on the radio in a minute like I was. But in the meantime, the Don Miller podcast will be being aired on Florida Man Radio on Saturdays. That's from what we understand. We're still kind of ironing things out. Go ahead.
All right. So some of the comments here we got Biden was elder abuse.
Yep.
Right. People vote on name only.
Yep.
Right. We should cap it at 90 at least.
Right.
Maybe 80. Someone said maybe 80. Sorry, Grandma. Pap is back.
Yeah, Pap.
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
You know. And yeah, so if you don't try, you've already failed.
Absolutely, PJ.
And people are just saying that she's been great.
Well, thank you so much again. The Don Miller Show, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on DonMillerShow.com. Don Miller Show on YouTube. Follow me on all platforms, Instagram, X, and all of that stuff. But you know what? I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. I could not do this without your support. And at the end of the day, I come over here to see Phil, the podcast doctor. Shout him out, the podcast doctor. Shout out to Amber, Cuchilla Designs, up there around there, back up over there, right by right by the farm over there off of 19, somewhere off of 19, back up in there. And shout out to her in Trenton, Florida. Trenton, Florida is up there somewhere around there. But anyway, thank you, Amber. Shout out to the fragrance ministry at St. John Missionary Baptist Church. They spray people who come to church musty. Shout out to Quetta Jean Johnson from the Johnson family. No, you come to church musty, man, the fragrance ministry be like, oh, excuse me, can we talk to you for a minute?
Oh, God.
You pull you right off to the side. They don't embarrass you. They just hit you with like, bloom, bloom. What we got today? We got Zherzhoff. We're going to spray you with some Zherzhoff. They spray good stuff on you, but couple people come to church musty. And you do not want to sit in church next to somebody that's musty.
No.
So shout out to LaTanya and my girls up at the fragrance ministry. They also pose as greeters, but they really the fragrance ministry. Shout out to Pastor Sharon Riley, Pastor Frazier. Shout out to Sandy over at Paxville and my little sister. And thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate all y'all for supporting this broadcast. I'll see you in a minute. Bye-bye.
his name up in lights. Don Miller is live every Thursday night. He's bold, he's real, no filters, no shade. When hits the mic, the truth gets laid. Don's in the building, his swag so tight. Check your feelings, he's exposing all the lies. Every Thursday at 8, his voice takes the stage. The man's got